Hello friends, welcome to JavaEE Servlet's tutorial. So this is the last part of the learning cookie series. So in this last part of the sub-series, we are going to read cookies from client machine. In the last video, we stored the cookies using the user preference servlet. Now we will read those cookies using the about cookies as well as age of cookies servlets. So if you see in the last video, we saw how the client machine placed a request by selecting the user preference using the user preference.html. So there will be a corresponding servlet. So user pref manager servlet. That servlet, while forming the response, it creates the cookie and send those cookies as part of the response. So we already saw those two cookies, which is tied to the response and which is sent and stored in the client browser. I mean the client disk. So this response one, not only have the cookies tied to the response, but it also has the informative message that states that cookies is stored, as well as the response will have the link to the cookies homepage. So the browser can browsing user can click that homepage link that will go as a request to. And if you see, as part of response one, we stored the cookies in the client disk. So the subsequent request will always send these cookies to the server. So here, even though user clicked the cookies homepage and the request contains cookies, here the server is not using those cookies, but it just renders the cookies homepage. So that will be our response to. So once the homepage is displayed, from the displayed page, user can click set preference or about cookies or age of cookies. Let us assume that the request 3 is about cookies. So this request 3 also will have these two cookies here in the about cookies servlet as well as in the age of cookies in both the servlet. Let's say this is about cookies and this is age of cookies. In both the servlet, we will read these cookies information. Then we will respond back by making use of those cookies. That means we will set the font size as well as font color when we are sending the response. So we will read the cookies, and based on those read cookies, we will form the dynamic HTML. So what you should note here is the cookies are stored as part of very first response. So we send the cookies, actually we will form the cookies in server, then we tie that to the response object, and those goes to the browser which made the request req1. Then when the client machine sees the request for the cookies, it stores those cookies as part of the disk. So these are all browser specific. Let us say if we are browsing using IE, then the cookies are stored to the IE preferred location in the local disk. Next, in the subsequent request 2, if you see, we are sending the request to get the cookies homepage from the response 1 link. Then the server will send the requested 3-page link. That's our cookies homepage. So the point that you note here is, here itself we actually send the cookies, the 2 cookies. So the server doesn't use these cookies, and it just gives the 3-link HTML page. Next, from that 3-link HTML page, user can either choose about cookies or age of cookies or set user preference. So let us assume that user clicked the about cookies. So the cookies goes as part of the request 3. So here there will be a corresponding servlet. That servlet make use of these cookies. That means it reads the cookies array, then it knows what is the user preference, which was somewhat 3 or 4 level or in the previous session, browser session. Instead of saying browser session, that cookie is specific to a client PC and for client specific client browser. So these cookies are sent when the max age is not elapsed. Remember, when we are creating a cookie, we set it max age of 20 minutes, 20 into 60 actually. That means 20 into 60 seconds. That evaluates to 20 minutes. So if the request time, request 1 and request 3 is within 20 minutes time lapse, then the client machine, since it sees the cookies, so whatever cookies it sees, it sends that to each and every request. So here server will make use of these 2 cookies, and then it forms the dynamic HTML and sends it to the client PC. So the client browser will see that the text will get rendered in preferred user preferred size as well as back color. So that's the concept here. So if the cookie age, here in this example we set cookies age as 20 minutes. So some site will set this cookies age as 60 days or 1 month. So when user set a preference, the next day he can see the same preference, or even after 1 week when cookies age is 1 month. Right, now we will go ahead and create our last page. That means, last 2 couple of page. One is about cookies and another one is age of cookies. So we will create those 2 servlet, and we will read the cookies, then we will form dynamic HTML. So let's open an Eclipse Neon. Cookies homepage. This we created in the video number 2 of this sub-series. So this HTML we know. So the first link will open a HTML, and from that HTML user can select their preference and send a request to server. Now we have to create these 2 servlet. One is about cookies and age of cookies. These 2 servlet will read the cookies which is stored as part of the response to the user preference.html. Now let us create about cookies. So I'm just copying this name so that we can create servlet with the same name. So under the web module, I am right clicking, new, servlet. So this is the project which we created in the second video of this series. So if you are watching this video from the playlist, you won't have any trouble following this. Or if you are watching it in the middle, and if you have a better understanding of JavaEE technologies, then you can simply follow it. So that's the servlet we are creating here. So we can use either get or post because the request is coming through a link. So get is the perfect one. Anyhow, I have chosen post, but that will still work. So the flow is user will visit the home page, cookies home page. From there, they will launch the set preference. After selecting a particular preference, they will submit the request, and from the response to that request, they will come back again to the home page. Then they will either select about cookies or age of cookies. But so this is the workflow we want to learn how cookies works. But sometimes user can directly click the age of cookies link. So that time we need a default font and default back color. So here we declare two variable. One is font size and another one is back color. For the font size, we are setting a smaller font, and for back color, we are setting red as the background for the text. So first we will import the cookie. So this is the second package we need to import, javax.servlet.http. From there we import the cookies, and if you see, as already explained in the PowerPoint slide, once cookies are stored in the client disk, I mean the browser disk, subsequent request will have those cookies. That means the client browser machine, it knows from where the cookies are created, which one is the server. So when subsequent request goes to the same server, the client browser will pick up those cookies. There may be varieties of cookies for other sites also. So when a request goes to a specific site, say yahoo.com, then the browser machine will pick the cookies previously stored for yahoo.com. So it packs those cookies as part of the request and sends that to the server. The server will read the cookies using the request object and get cookies method. So this will give array of cookies. So now we know that we have two cookies as part of this Wildfly server. Now we will get two cookies here in the array. So we are checking whether cookies are actually exist or null. Why? Because when user is directly visiting this page, then there have been no cookie store request from server to client. So the cookie store request goes through the specific servlet that handles the request from user preference.html. So without visiting that page, if user directly comes to about cookies or age of cookies, the cookies will be null. So that's why we are checking that to avoid runtime errors. So when cookies are null, then we are making a for loop and we are reading the cookies. So we know that the loop will run for 2 times. So in each iteration we are checking whether we have the cookie named font size. So let's go to the user preference servlet. There, if you see, when we are creating the cookie, we gave a name for the cookie. So one is the font size cookie and another one is a back color cookie. So here in the about cookie, if you see, we are using that name to check whether the cookie named font size is read from the client machine. So if it is there, then we read the value using a cookie dot get value. So get name will return the name, get name will return this, and get value return whatever we stored as part of the value when we are creating the cookie. So that we store in our local variable. So when cookies are found, it will override the default. That means default is smaller font. Now it will override that with the user preferred font size. Same goes for back color. Now our internal variable have the user preferred size as well as back color when cookies are already stored in the client browser. So when cookies are stored in the client browser means user already visited the user preference.html and they already selected what is their preference and they submitted those preferences to the server as well. So that's the case where you won't find cookies as null entry. So you will find valid cookies and you are reading it from the client browser. So when client makes a request, they pack the cookies. So here we are reading it. Next, when we are forming the HTML, we will make use of the cookies. That means here, if you see, here we are forming our output string. I'm just importing a print writer from java.io package. This we saw multiple times in the video series. Here we are forming the div style. So this is the div tag style. So first we are setting the font size, and font size, if you see, we are making use of the variable font size. So if there is no user preference, then we will set font size as smaller. Otherwise we will set whatever is read from the cookie. Same goes for back color. So the default is red, and if user set their preference as green, then when we are reading we will get green here, and we use that green while forming the style tag for the div, style attribute for the div. Alright, here we formed our div style and we are pushing it to the client browser. Finally, we place other information, and if you see, we form h3 tag. So all these tag h3, p1, p, and this anchor text all belongs to this div tag. That means the div tag is the parent container, right? So all these 3 tag will inherit the font size and back color from its parent. So this paragraph and the h3 all appear in this back color and font size. Then we have a HTML link also. Why? Because here we are saying about cookies, we provide some descriptive information Then we provide an option for the user to go back to our homepages.html, cookies homepage.html. There they can see, once they click this link, they will see that a three link page. All right, this is about cookies. Next, we will create edge of cookies servlet. So the code will be ditto same. So I will be going fast. Since I selected the package, when I'm right clicking, the package is populated here. I'm specifying class name as edge of cookies. Next, I need only do post. Click finish. Let me pass and format it. So this will be our second servlet, and you can see that it is annotated as edge of cookies. Now the code will be ditto similar, only the dynamic portion here that will get changed. Here we will say edge of cookies and we will provide some informative text. So just importing the required packages. So edge of cookies also ready. Let us save it. Now we have a complete example. So a quick review is, for example, this is our web content homepage. The homepage will have 3 links. Then we have user preference.html. This will get launched from our homepage. We have two radio button groups. From using this, user can select their preference, and when they submit, it goes to user preference manager. And here is our user preference manager servlet. In the servlet, we actually create cookies. We set the maximum age. Then we will add the cookie as part of response. So when a response goes to the client will store these cookies. Then subsequent request, since we have the home page, they can navigate to the home page, and from there they can either click user preference.html, or they can invoke about cookies or edge of cookies. So about cookies and edge of cookies, just now we saw in this video. Here we check whether there exist any cookies in the client browser. So if so, we will read the font size and back color, and we will override that. Then while forming the div style, we will make use of those cookies. Now it's time to publish these to the Wildfly server and examine. So I'm completely removing it. Then we will add our web module. You can also do republish. So I just want to do a perfect clean, so I removed it and I am adding it again afresh. So the Wildfly server is stopped. Now we will start it. Once you start, it will also publish our web module servlet example. You can see that in the console. So Wildfly server is started, and you can Wildfly server is started, and you can see that the web module also started and synchronized. Now we will go to our web content and we will browse our cookies home. So we will copy this link and we will launch this using the Chrome as well as, so here the cookies is launched in Chrome browser. We will launch it in IE also. So first we will set preference for IE. So I am setting the preference as medium and large, and color I am choosing it as a green. Then I am clicking set my pref from IE. So the user through IE browser selects his or her preference as large font size and back color as green. So now it states that our user per manager servlet states that your preferences set. We remember it for 20 minutes. Let us leave it like this. We will go to our Chrome browser, and here user is acting for medium and wheat back color. So now cookies are set. The subsequent request, if you see, the request is to have the cookies home. Now the request goes to this Wildfly server, and the server knows that you can see the status here, cookies homepage.html. So that's the request we are making. This is the second request from IE browser, and now our Wildfly server will provide that homepage.html. So that's nothing but our 3-page link. So the user is visiting this page again. The same goes for Chrome as well. Now let's go back to IE, and here I'm clicking about cookies. So it states that get is not supported by this URL. Let us stop our servlet, I mean the Wildfly server. So one simple change is, instead of a do post, so about cookies is a do post, and user per manager both are do post. Let us change it as do get. Now we will clear this and republish. And we will start our Wildfly server. So we see started and synchronized. So user selects large and green, set my proof. Okay, we made a mistake again. So this is actually a form request. So here we are using do post. So this one also we need to use do get. So here we are not posting anything, we want to get these request. Now we will do full publish. So it undeployed our where. We will wait for deploy to happen. So it is deployed. So we'll refresh. So in the IE, I'm choosing, I think this is our third attempt, sorry for that, a large and green font. Next we are going to user preference through Chrome, setting medium and width as the style. Here we are going to home page. In IE also we are going to home page. Then we are choosing about cookies, and you can see the about cookies servlet is displaying the content in a large font. So this is our content, and they can even go back to home page. Since IE is set with this, let's say the user bookmarked this page and the next day he is coming and opening a new IE session, and let's say he is directly going to this page and choosing about cookies. So he can see, he can even click edge of cookies. In both the cases, he or she can see that the preference is reflecting back. But this preference is specific to IE, and we know that for Chrome user, I hope we picked a wide background and a smaller medium font. Now let's click on about cookies, and you can see that the font is appearing in a medium color and wide background. So even in Chrome case also, if user launches a new browser and directly goes to any of these two page, they can see their preference. And since we set age of cookies as maximum 20 minutes, they can see this preference when they relaunch the browser within 20 minutes. And here when I talked about when they come back tomorrow, right? So that time span depends on the set max age which we set here. Here we set max age as 20 into 60 so 20 into 60 seconds. That means 20 minutes. So if you increase this size, then you can even set it for 1 month. So if you want to set it for 1 month, then 60 into 60, that is 1 hour, into 24, that's 1 day, into 28 or 30. So that tells you a month, how many months. Or you can simply state with days itself. So 90 days means 3 months. All right, that's all here. If you see, the mistake we made is we used do post, and in the video also I think I told you can use do get or do post, but since we are not submitting any form data, the do get is the perfect method. All right, and that's all here. Thank you for watching. Bye.